Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. I had such an overwhelming response to the teaching snippet I did yesterday, and what I did a question and answer. The question was, how can I get 100% healed and stay healed? And then I added the part about things you can do to walk in divine health. So today, I've had a lot of questions and private messages come in about that snippet, that teaching that I did, I want to pick up on that today and go just a little bit deeper, because I truly want to help you get healed, stay healed, and walk in divine health. I have no problem telling you that I'm 55 years old and I have no health problems. There are reasons for that, and today I want to just dig down and help you understand more about how you can live healthy, okay? So let's get started. I want to start with getting this defined and understood. We are a three-part being. I'm amazed at how the church doesn't teach this, but we are three parts. I am a spirit with a soul, mind, will, and emotion, a thinking man. That's my thinking part, is my soul. And I live in a body. I have a container that I live in. So I am a spirit with a soul, and I live in a body. Now, yesterday I didn't break it down that way, but today I want to do it this way. I want to be very strategic. So let's talk about my spirit man. How do I keep my spirit man healthy? Well, to start with, I pray in the Spirit a lot. Remember, I made the joke about me trying to place an order at McDonald's, speaking to her in tongues. Well, I had been praying in tongues in my spirit language when I was in line, and when I got to the speaker, I forgot to cut that off and start speaking English, and so I had to flip that back over. But watch, when you pray in the Spirit, that's your prayer language, and every single believer has a completely different prayer language. God is so personal. He's like our DNA is different, our fingerprints are all different. Did you know that even our prayer language is totally different from other believers? They may sound a little alike, and when we're all in a room together praying together, they seem to come in harmony somehow, like one of those forks that you use, a tuning fork. But let me keep going. The Bible is very, very clear that when you pray in the Spirit, you edify yourself, you build yourself up, and you stir up your spirit man. Now I'm going to get technical and medical on you. They have proven medically that praying in tongues uses a different part of your brain than when you just talk your regular, natural, learned language, okay? So a different part of your brain is working. So they know that praying in tongues is real, and it's really different. And number two, they've also done medical tests on people, and people who pray in tongues a lot are healthier, physically healthier, and mentally healthier because they pray in tongues than people who don't. Okay. So I help take care of my spirit man by praying in tongues a lot. I also read my Bible a lot. I read and study a lot because that connects me with, Jesus said that the Word was spirit. And we connect with the Word of God in a spiritual way. So that's the two things I do for my spirit. I stay connected to the Word, and I pray in tongues a lot. So the next thing I want to do is go to the soul. We have a mind, will, and emotion. So with the soul, what do I do to keep my soul? I told you yesterday, I guard my heart, I guard my words, I guard what's put in my mind. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, do not be conformed or molded by the world, but be transformed, changed completely. It's talking about becoming the new man that God made you to be. The old person goes away and dies, and a new person lives. And part of that is your responsibility to renew your mind to the Word of God. And it says to be transformed, metamorphosized by the renewing of our minds. So that's our responsibility. Our responsibility, our soul is our responsibility. We have to guard our heart, watch our words. We have to watch what comes in our brains. And here's another thing. I declare every day out loud who God says I am, not who people say I am. I have made a declaration and I say that out loud. I feed my soul and I make sure I'm thinking right. And the next thing I do is I worship a lot. I play Christian music in my home all the time. I don't listen to any other kind of music. I'm not telling you you can't. I'm telling you how I stay healthy. I want the Word of God alive and in me all the time. I never clock out and go, oh, well, I'm not a Christian right now. I can go be a worldly person. I don't live that way. So I stay grounded and I worship. Worshiping God 7 minutes a day will keep you healthy and make you well. It sends out healthy endorphins into your body. Praying in the Spirit creates healthy endorphins that kill off sickness and disease. Praying in tongues does that. Number 2, thinking the right things causes the right healthy toxins, or not toxins, but chemicals to kill off things that don't belong in your body. So that's my responsibility as my soul. Now watch this. Now we got to talk about the body. And this is the part where some people are going to get upset and offended with me. There's 2 places in the Bible where Jesus talks about that tells people, go and sin no more. The first place is when Jesus heals the man that had been at the pool of Bethesda and was crippled. And he sees him in the temple later, and he says, I see that you are well. Stop sinning so that something worse does not come upon you. Now that's in John chapter 5, and the verse I just read to you was verse 14. Okay? Now, I want to keep going. I'm in John chapter 8, and this is verse 7 through 14. And down here, Jesus talks about, this is the woman that was caught in adultery. Now look, this isn't a physical sickness, but watch what Jesus said to her. Jesus told her, has no one judged you to be guilty? And she said, no one, sir. And he said, I also do not judge you as guilty. You may go now, but do not sin anymore. Okay, what he just said is, now watch this. There was a man involved in this adultery, but he wasn't on trial. They catch them in the act and drag her out naked out into the street to stone her, and really just to set Jesus up, because that was the law back then for them to do that. But here's the thing I want you to catch here. Did you notice that Jesus was not concerned that there was a guy involved in that? He didn't even talk to her about the fact that it was a setup by the religious people to get him caught trying to make a bad decision that went against their religion. Jesus was concerned about what she was doing, not about other people. He said, I don't find you guilty, but go and sin no more. What he was telling her is what you were doing is the reason you got up in the middle of this mess. If you hadn't been in the middle of that going on, they couldn't drug you out here naked to stone you. Do you know, I remember as a teenager, I'd say a little cuss word here or there, and my mother would get all over me and go, don't you say that. And I'm like, well, my friends say that. And she's like, I don't care what they say. Do you notice that? My mother wasn't worried about what other people did and was telling me I didn't need to worry about what other people were doing. Her concern and my concern was what was coming out of my mouth. That's what Jesus was telling her. Now let's go back to the man who had been crippled. And Jesus told him, stop doing what made you to be crippled. Don't do that no more. Now this is the hard part of the teaching, okay? There are people that I have laid hands on and they got completely healed. And a couple of weeks later I talked to him and I'm like, well, this would be a good time for us to talk about some lifestyle changes for you. And just so you know, I've talked to a lady that had a thyroid problem. I talked to someone that had diabetes and they were obese. And the third thing was someone who was smoking and got healed of COPD. Now watch this. All 3 of those individuals said this, oh, well, God healed me. I don't have to worry about none of that. My friend, that's not biblical. Jesus said, whatever you were doing that caused you to be crippled, don't do that no more. So Jesus himself has told us if there's something in our lives that we're doing that we know is hurting our health, it's our responsibility to stop doing it. Now this is where I'm going to get a little personal. I'm 55 and I'm healthy. I have no problem saying that. But what I find is that people want to indulge in things and not stop doing those. And if you've got some health issues that's connected to a lifestyle choice you're making, you've got to decide. The Bible said it. You have the power of life and death, and you get to choose. And if you choose that you would rather continue doing what you're doing, then you're going to have to deal with being sick. That's just the truth. But before I close today, and I'm going to wrap up real quick now, because I did have someone ask me if there was things that I did. I want to talk about the body a little bit more. We need to exercise a little bit. Just walk 1 mile a day, and it'll take care of your heart problems and your like blood pressure, cholesterol. You don't have to run and lift weights. Walk 1 mile a day. You need to get good sleep. You need to sleep at night. Watch this. I watch my weight. I have since I was about 27, 28 years old. I have a top out weight, and once I hit that, I'm going to lose weight and get back down to my bottom weight. I have about a 10-pound scale that I work within, and when I hit the top, I'm cutting down, and I am going to maintain the size that I am. The next thing that I want to talk about is I take daily vitamins. This is juice. What is that? Juice fruit. This is Juice Festive, and that's the fruit, and this is the veggie. This is a lot like Juice Plus. It's just cheaper. I get it at, you can get it off Amazon or Costco or Sam's Club. It's all natural, it's all organic, and it has everything you need for the entire day as far as fruit and vegetable content. I also take turmeric, whatever you want to call it. This is really good for a lot of different things as far as inflammation, stiffness of joints, and different things. But here's something I also take, and I want to share this with you. Did you know that over 90%, I think it's like 96% of all Americans are low on magnesium? Magnesium and the lack of it causes you to have a weak heart. You are depressed, you don't have energy, you don't sleep good at night. There's lots of different things. But this is what I take. It's the very best on the market, and I get this from Amazon as well. I drink this in warm water, in 3 ounces of warm water right before I go to bed. And I sleep like a baby all night long because it's a natural muscle relaxer. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about sleep is this thing. You've got to quit using these where there's a light going, because it makes your body quit producing melatonin, and that's why you can't sleep. You have to leave your lit devices alone, your phones, your iPads, your laptops. You got to get rid of all of that stuff and quit using that 2 hours before you go to bed, preferably 3, okay? I don't eat after, say, 6 p.m. because I stay up till 9:30. That gives my body time to digest whatever food I've had. So you see, there's a lot of different things that I do in the natural and in the spirit and in the soul. It's all spirit, soul, and body. We have all of those things that they all fit together. And for us to pretend like that there's nothing we have to do in our soul or our body, we're not living the truth. Because the Bible tells us to take responsibility for certain things. Well, guys, I've went way into overtime, but I pray that this has been a blessing to you. And if you have any questions or anything, please just inbox me or message me. I love you, and I'll see you again right here on Facebook. Bye-bye.